Hello dear students, in the last lecture we have discussed about the concept of the price elasticity of demand. We have also discussed about the difference between the point price elasticity of demand and the arc price elasticity of demand. Now in this lecture I am going to show you the relationship between price elasticity, total revenue and marginal revenue. As we know that there is an important relationship among price elasticity of demand, total revenue and marginal revenue of a firm. So the symbol which we use for the price elasticity of demand is ED. For the total revenue we are using TR, and for the marginal revenue we are using the symbol of MR. So price elasticity of demand, as we know that price elasticity of demand refers to the percentage change in quantity demanded due to the percentage change in the price of a commodity. So we can write it as change in Q divided by change in P multiply P divided by Q. This is the price elasticity of demand formula. Total revenue. So total revenue is equal to P multiply Q. P is the price of a product and Q is the number of units sold in the market in a given time period. And marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is equal to change in total revenue per unit change in output. Change in total revenue caused by a 1 unit change in the output level. So the main objective of this lecture is to find out the relationship among price elasticity of demand, total revenue and marginal revenue of the firm. Now for example, we have a monopolist. We are taking the example of monopoly market. If for example we have a monopolist and the monopolist is trying to increase his revenue, his total revenue by declining the price level. So what will be the impact of the decrease in price on the total revenue as well as the marginal revenue? So for example, price declines means the producer or the firm reduces its price. What will be the impact of this price change on the total revenue as well as on the marginal revenue? So it depends on the concept of elasticity. If the demand is elastic, this price decline effect will be different on the total revenue and marginal revenue. If the price is unit elastic, the result will be different. If the elasticity is a unitary, the result will be different. If the elasticity is inelastic, the result will be different as well. So mean if the producer reduces the price level from the original, the result on the total revenue as well as the marginal revenue will be different, and it depends on the nature of elasticity, on the nature of commodity. For example, case 1, there are 3 possibilities. For example, a price decreases. So in this case total revenue will be increases if demand is elastic. if the firm reduces the price from the original level, from the original position, his total revenue will be increased if the demand for his product is elastic. What does it mean? It means that if absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is greater than 1. So, in that case total revenue of the producer will be increased. In the second case, total revenue remains unchanged. Total revenue remains unchanged if demand is unit elastic. If the demand is unit elastic, that is absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is equal to 1. Unit elastic, unit or unitary mean 1. So, in that case total revenue will remain the same. If the producer reduces the price, the total revenue will be unchanged if the demand for his product is unit elastic. In the third case, total revenue will be decreased if the demand is inelastic. If the demand for the firm products is inelastic from the consumer side, it means that the total revenue will be decreased if he reduces the price level. So, look at this strategy, this pricing policy. The producer is reducing the price level, but the impact of this price decline is totally different on the total revenue. That is, in one case total revenue is increasing, in the second case total revenue is constant, and in the last case total revenue is decreasing. So, it means that elasticity plays a key role in your decision problems. If demand for your product is elastic, your total revenue will be increased after a decline in price level. If the demand for your product is unit elastic, your total revenue will be unchanged, it will remain constant if still you are reducing the price level. However, in the third case, if demand for your product is inelastic, so this policy will leads to a decrease in the total revenue. If the demand is inelastic, in that case the absolute value of the price elasticity of demand will be less than 1. So, mean elasticity of demand plays a key role in your policy making as well as in your policy decisions. So, why this is the case? For example, if demand is elastic and if the producer decreases the price level, so the proportionate change in the quantity demanded is greater than the proportionate change in the price. That is why you will get more total revenue. Your total revenue will be increased from your previous value or from your previous position. So, if the demand is elastic, a price decline leads to a proportionately larger increase in quantity demanded. So, the total revenue will be increased in that case. If demand is inelastic, if demand is inelastic, this case, if demand for your product is inelastic, a decline in price leads to a smaller proportionate change in quantity demanded. It means that the change in quantity demanded is lesser than the change in price level. So, in the case of inelastic, this value will be less than. So, if demand is inelastic, this case, if demand is inelastic, a decline in price leads to a smaller proportionate change in quantity demanded. So, the total revenue of the firm declines. And if demand is unit elastic, the proportionate change in quantity demanded is equal to the proportionate change in price. For example, if the firm reduces price by 3%, so the quantity demanded will be increased by 3% as well. It means that the percentage change in quantity demanded and the percentage change in price level both are the same. In that case, the absolute value of the price elasticity of demand will be 1, and the total revenue of the firm will not be changed if he reduces the price level. But as we know that on a linear demand curve, we have different elasticity values. As I have discussed with you in the last example, that for a linear demand curve, let me draw the linear demand curve. For example, this is quantity of X, this is price of X in dollars. This was the linear demand curve. Suppose this is the midpoint, point A. This is the midpoint. In the last lecture, I have discussed that at the midpoint on the linear demand curve, the absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is equal to 1. Above this value, the absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is greater than 1, and below this value, the absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is less than 1. So, if this value is equal to 1, it means unit elastic. So, mean at point A, the value of the elasticity will always be equal to 1 in the case of a linear demand curve. In this area, the elasticity will be greater than 1. So, means this is the elastic region, and similarly this is the inelastic region, means below the midpoint, point A. In this case, absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is equal to 0, and here it is infinity, means the vertical axis. So, on the linear demand curve, we have different values of the elasticity. It means from left to right or from right to left, means from here to here as well as from here to here. We have different values of the price elasticity of demand. So, for example, if the producer reduces the price, and its total revenue increases as well in a result. So, this is the case of elastic demand, as I told you. So, it means that we are discussing this area. At point B, at point A, if the producer decreases prices, his total revenue will not change. So, this is the case of unit elastic demand, that is point A. And in this area, total revenue will be decreased if the producer decreases its price. So, from this point to point A, down to point A, the total revenue will be increased. At this point means the midpoint on a linear demand curve, the total revenue will be constant, and in this region the total revenue of the firm will be decreased. So, below the midpoint, this is inelastic region, the firm will get a lesser total revenue. At this point, it will be the same, there will be no increase in the total revenue. So, this was the relationship between the elasticity and the total revenue. What about the marginal revenue? If, for example, if as we know that if total revenue increases, it means that marginal revenue is positive. If total revenue is maximum, it means that marginal revenue is equal to 0. However, if total revenue decreases, it means that marginal revenue will be negative. So, if total revenue increases, it means marginal revenue of the firm will be positive. If total revenue is maximum, at that level marginal revenue of the firm will be 0. However, if total revenue decreases, it means that marginal revenue is negative. So, this is the relationship of the total revenue. Let me give you an example. For example, I will give you a numerical example, then we will show it graphically as well. For example, we have price of a commodity in dollar. Here we have quantity, price elasticity of demand. Here we have total revenue, which is equal to P multiply Q, and here we have marginal revenue, which is equal to change in total revenue due to change in output. So, this is the table. Suppose the monopolist reduces its price level to increase his total revenue. For example, this is $6, then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. His output is, for example, 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. means number of units sold in the market. This is the price elasticity of demand. We can measure the price elasticity of demand from the given values. The original price level and the new price level is given. Similarly, the original quantity and the new quantity is given as well. So, from these values we can measure the price elasticity of demand. So, I am just writing the values. You can measure it by self. Minus infinity, minus 5, minus 2, minus 1, minus 1 over 2, minus 1 over 5, and in this case 0. Total revenue, price multiply QF. In this case total revenue will be 0. Then 500, 800, 900, 800, 500 and 0 because P is 0. Marginal revenue $5, 3, 1 minus 1, 1, minus 1, minus 3 minus 5, minus 3 minus 5. This is the marginal revenue. This is the total revenue column. This is the price elasticity of demand. This is the price of the commodity, and 100 shows 100 units of, for example, marker or something which the monopolist produces and sells in the market. If we draw the graph of, for example, at Q3, at price 3, if this is the price, Q is 300. In this case, the price elasticity of demand is minus 1. So, total revenue is 900. Total revenue is 900 and the marginal revenue value is 1 or $100. So, let me draw these values graphically. We can easily understand. This is the graph of the total revenue. Quantity of X. On the vertical axis we have total revenue in US dollar. So, when we draw the graph of the total revenue, we can get a curve like this. We can get a curve like this. This is quantity of commodity X and this is the curve. This is the total revenue curve of the firm. If it starts from 0, as we know that total revenue is equal to P multiply Q. If the firm produces nothing, for example, if Q 0, total revenue will be 0. At this point, total revenue is maximum. Suppose let me divide this graph into two pieces. In this area, total revenue is increasing. At this point total revenue is maximum. After this point total revenue is decreasing. It means that in this area absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is greater than 1. So, if the producer, the monopolist decreases the price and if his total revenue increases, so it means that absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is greater than 1, which is this case. At this level, in this region, absolute value of the price elasticity of demand will be less than 1 because total revenue of the firm is decreasing after this point. However, at this point where total revenue is maximum, in this case absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is equal to 1. So, in this region, this is the elastic region. In this region absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is greater than 1. At this point it is equal to 1, and below this point where total revenue decreases, the absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is less than 1. So, in this case if total revenue is increases and the demand for the product is elastic, in this case marginal revenue will be positive. At this point where the absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is equal to 1 and the total revenue of the firm is maximum, so at this point marginal revenue will equal to 0, and in this region where the total revenue of the firm is decreasing, so it means that marginal revenue is less than 0, and this is the number of units, 300 units, and this is the total revenue. In the table it is 900. So, it means that if the firm reduces its price and if its total revenue increases, its total revenue will be increased if the demand for the product is elastic. So, in this region the absolute value of the price elasticity of demand will be greater than 1 and the marginal revenue will be positive. At this point the marginal revenue will be maximum, the total revenue will be maximum and the value of the marginal revenue will equal to 0, and the absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is 1 as the demand is unit elastic. In this region the total revenue of the firm decreases as the demand for his product is inelastic. So, in this region marginal revenue is less than 0. So, this was the important relationship among price elasticity of demand, total revenue and marginal revenue of the firm. That is it for today. In the next lecture we will further clarify this concept and the relationship among these three concepts like price elasticity of demand, total revenue and marginal revenue. Thank you so much.